Alright, y'all, welcome to this very special stream. 4 years ago on this very day 4 years ago. It's crazy to think that it was this Armory digital race in 2022. Like, it feels like yesterday that this race just happened. Let me add my display capture first off. I forgot to do that. That's kind of important considering we're doing. There we go. So yeah. This stream, I kind of just thought of. I don't have the kind of general plan is, watch the entirety of the race, kind of add my tidbits and little details, and then after we watch this race again together, we're gonna go actually in NR2003 and see some onboard shots from some of the drivers because I still have the original NR replay files. But before we get started, I can't believe I forgot to do this for so long, but we have a new Discord link. I posted it in the chat right there. I did put replay chat, our save replay for the live chat, and also I did update my channel bio to have the new Discord link because I totally forgot to do it. I've had this new Discord link for a while, but I just forgot to do it. Apologies. The reason why I got a new Discord link is because the original one throughout later last year after the finale for PSL and whatnot, there was a lot of bots joining and spamming, let's just say not safe for work stuff. So I had to change the invite link. That invite link was never a result anyway. It probably need to be changed out, but it changed out. This is a new link. So if you're interested in joining the Discord, feel free to do so. All right. So without further ado, let's start watching this race again. I've not watched this. I've watched this finish from time to time a little bit, because sometimes when I used to make races or everything, I used to watch older races to kind of like, get me motivated and kind of say, okay, I did this right, or I did this wrong. I got to fix that in future races. So, all right, let's do this. Hopefully the audio for this sounds decent, by the way. Screen. There we go. That's better. So I made this intro longer, I remember, because to accompany the longer length of the song that I chose for this, because I originally got this song from like a stock website. Funny story, the original on the GSS intro. My original plan, my original idea for the intro is use the beginning song from the first Cars movie, like Real Gone, whatever that thing's called. Yeah, that's what it's called, from Sheryl Crow, or whatever her name is. It's a good song, by the way. But I was like, it's Disney. Disney is always very stingy on copyright stuff. That's why I don't really use too much copyright music. Sometimes when I did use music for promos and stuff, like apparently Behoven, like old school opera stuff, somewhat copyrighted, and even like God Bless America and stuff. Like, you never know. Sometimes it's copyrighted music. But anyways, I couldn't use Real Gone because I didn't want the crap to get copyrighted. So I found a website. I don't know if it's still around, but I just found this song and I was like, oh, that's cool. That's this little kind of rock and roll style music. That was what I was trying to get for this intro. So that was the intro. That's to date, not counting special intros. That's the longest intro I've done for a series. Welcome to the 2022 Golf Summer Series opening night. So first off, I'm realizing just how up close this, those the edges on this logo. I probably should use. I still don't use. I'm still kind of guilty to this now. I don't use vector images because I don't think Paint.net supports vector images, but I probably should. The reason why it's this color is because it's similar to the Seattle Kraken color. I wanted like it's the same logo from 2020, the 2021 opener, but I just changed the colors around. And when I was recording this was the first time I was using this computer, because for the first 2 golf seasons and also the O'Reilly Owner Street Stocks and the yeah, all of the all but one of the races for the HWRL. I think for the final race, I actually started to use this Dell laptop I'm using right now. Because before, what I did, I had 2 computers to do NR. One to record the race, and that's why some of my earlier races, from like the first 2 golf seasons and the first 2 winter stuff, they were all kind of choppy when it came to performance, because I was on a weaker computer that just put a graphics card in, put more RAM in, and called it a day. This was the first race I used. Well, not counting the spring showdown. This was the first full-length race that I used this new laptop to record and edit. So yeah, and at the time, and also too, I'm using this. I kind of hard to describe what it is, but I'm using a dock for my computer, and this dock has its own headphone port. I used that headphone port on the dock to record this race, and that's why the audio doesn't sound as good as other races, even prior races, because I was using the other headphone port. So I remember watching this, even looking through the audio, I was like, yeah, it's kind of muffled audio. It's not horrible, but the perfectionist in me is like, yeah, that's kind of muffled for sure. Anyways.
Tonight, we're here at the Armory Digital Super Speedway for the Costco 400 benefiting Mental Health America. To kick off one last summer, we're headed to Super Speedway just outside of downtown Seattle, with now 38 drivers and teams that are just about ready for what should be a good one here tonight. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Josh, your commentator, for the start of what should be an emotional final golf.
So some people have asked me how I did this stuff in Animal Crossing, how I got my Animal Crossing character to, do this booth, to do the booth. I think I showed it during one of the Animal Crossing streams I've done, but I'll say it again, but the way how it works is I have, in my game, you go to in Animal Crossing, you go to Har's Island, which is essentially the photo booth of the game. So you can, you can go in a room, put all the furniture you want in there, get a cool picture, or put all the villagers or amiibos if you have them, get a good picture up and stuff, photo up and stuff like that. What I did was I got 3 panels in the game, colored them green, record my character with these panels in the background. And the idea that, and you can see these little like wood pillars here. These wood pillars are each individual panel. And the idea is that I was trying to, in like if you go to like a glass, like a big glass like tower or glass, just any structure, there's gonna be like, things that like pillars separating the glass. That's the idea I got here for. And this green screen effect isn't perfect. Like from far away, like on a smaller screen, you can barely notice it. But from me in this monitor, yeah, it's kind of noticeable in full screen.
Summer Series season. But on that note, I honestly could not have picked a better track to kick this summer off than the track that kicked it off to begin with, to help put the series on the map and a place with a sellout crowd for the 3rd year in a row. Speaking of the last couple races here, our past 2 winners here are all racing tonight. Starting with our 2020 winner, Richard Herman, making his return to the GSS in almost a full year with the very same pace game he won with 2 years ago at this race by 1/100th of a second, which is still the closest finish in GSS.
That kind of scared me there, that point there, yeah. Well, Herman goes by Lexi Herman now. So, but I guess briefly comment on the first race, which will be like the photo finish of that race will be shown at the end of the video. I was like, I remember just a kind of brief reaction out of that from that first race in 2020. It happened so long ago, but I was like, oh wow, first race I do with this new series, I get a close finish. I got something special here. I kind of said that in the finale for golf as well. I knew I got something special here.
That's history. As for last year's winner, Brady Carruthers, he is once again with a new sponsor and number, and is looking to forget everything about his dismal season last year as he finished.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for Brado here, because he did win the 2021 Armory Digital race. He's an Armory Digital winner, but I feel like this race, that 2021 race, kind of gets forgotten about because of 2020 and 2022 were both very close finishes, or extremely close finishes, and that one ended under caution, so definitely very different. And also, shout out to, I probably should have said this earlier, happy birthday to both Ryan Wilson and Matthew Hubert, former channel champions here. So happy birthday, y'all! If y'all watching now, or if you're watching later, happy birthday. Cool that they share the same. It's kind of cool to share the same. Pretty cool to both of y'all share the same birthday because both of y'all are past champions. So shout out to both of y'all.
30 from the point standings. And going back to back here in the Emerald City would certainly be a great starting point. With that all out of the way, it is time to take a look at the starting lineup for a bigger 38-car field and pre-race ceremonies. So on the poles, Lipsy once again the 9-car.
Now when I do these intros, when I do the intros and also the outros for like, you know, the big races like your 100th channel race and the finales, I write a script. When I do it, I typically don't like. I actually typically don't really like writing scripts. It's kind of funny because I'm a film major. I don't like writing scripts. They're so tedious. They're so damn tedious. I know editing is tedious too, but at least with the editing, you can have a better visualization of what you're doing. And here we go to starting lineups here.
In the 90 car, Matthew Hill. Row 2, Spring Showdown winner Aiden Robertson down to number 54, and second-year driver Joe T in the 8 car.
Now, I know for some videos, especially in this 2022 season, this graphic here is a PowerPoint image. What I do is I set the background to green, or I did O'Reilly's registry stocks, I set it to blue. And then when I take a screenshot of every individual slide, and when I paste it on into the Adobe at the time, I use the Ultra Key effect and cut the green part, so you just have this little graphic here. That's why some numbers, like if there's green in the number, it either looks weird or I do it at a completely different color.
Row 3, Johnny Hernandez and Jordan Forbes. Row 4, RC Gamer down to number 1 in the 37 of Owen Miles. Row 5, Trey Smith in the 22, and rookie Riot Roberts in the 42, our highest starting rookie here tonight. Row 6, Caleb Rose in the number 19, and the 13 in Matthew Burnett. Row 7 got 2 pairs of rookies coming from the HWRL, Gaming Freak in the 28, and the 31 of Roto Crown Jr.
Oh, this was his first race.
Row 8, former Winter Street Stocks champion Ryan Wilson and Jason Albert in the 80 car.
Again, happy birthday to Ryan, and of course the eventual golf champion for this season.
Row 9, another rookie, this powwow in the number 7, and next to him the 53 of Random J.
That was my Delta car there. Oh.
Row 10, defending winner of this race, Brendan Crowder's down to number 18, and another rookie, the 23 of Andrew Williams. Row 11, yet another rookie, Nathan Stapleton in the 97, and defending HWRL champion Keyshawn Richardson. Row 12, yet another rookie, Alex Cass Stevens, and defending...
Oh yeah, Just Cause. I don't know if he's still watching, but I don't know if he even is watching, but no, he did HWRL. He almost did a championship in that too. Yeah, I forgot he had the Pontiac, and my team, Atlanta Motorsports, was the only other Pontiac team, and we're kind of like aligned with Baker as well. We were sort of aligned with Just Cause here, and this Hoodlum, the defending 2021 champion at the time.
Series champion Hoodlum now in the number 88 car. Another rookie run number 13, Noah Clifton in the 76, and last year's runner-up Brad Ream now in the number 6 car. Row 14, Jordan Stout once again in the 11, and 2020 series champ Kellen Baker. Row 15, Xavier in the number 33, and Dan Mantel once again back in the number 17. Row 16, Kyle Salmon, the 2020 winner of this race, Richard Herman.
I'll probably skip through the anthem in the pre-race a little bit. I know I probably shouldn't, but I've already been live for like 15 minutes. I've been yapping. So
Row 17, Brendan Beal and Ross McMurrola. Row 18, Nick Sand, the 20, and Nathan Baird making his first GSS start since IRP back in 2020.
Yeah, Dallas was for Nathan Baird here. He is interesting what happened because in 2020 for golf, the first season, he was supposed to be with Brado's team, but those two got into a massive fight. He left the server and he got kicked off the team and left the server. I think it was HS who replaced him in 2020. And then when Beal got kicked, and when I had to kick Beal at the time, Dallas replaced him, and Dallas was supposed to sign up. I think he forgot to sign up in 2021, so he became co-owner of my team, but then he finally signed up as a driver in 2022. So he wasn't a rookie, despite this being his first full year.
And final run number 19, Dan McRone, the number 99, and David Johnson, the
The Georgia car.
2 car. And now it is time for a
So,
pre-race
like I said, I'm
ceremony
gonna skip
start.
this.
4 engines!
I've used this graphic since the first race too. I just realized that. All right, here's the
4 engines!
And for that, I use the starting commands. I use the Armory digital from the start your engine to start sound pack from 80 Designs or Armory Digital Designs. Yeah, this track looks and this was the 2017 for that. This track's almost 10 years old. It still looks great. This track is almost 10 years old in NR and still one of the best looking out there. The 2023 track that I used for last year's Palm Summer League definitely looks better because the surface is a bit more realistic and aged out. Well, not, but this is still a good, fantastic looking track. There's some NR tracks in the game that have aged really well, like Atlanta from 2010, like that I used that I've used in the series before. Yeah, I'll kind of sweep through this.
Of course, Auto Driver T1, both being Chevys.
Yeah, just read this. 36 laps, 2.6 mile long track, 33 degrees of banking, 43 degrees. Wow. If this was an actual race in real life, because this is in Seattle and it's not really the warmest place in the world. If this is a real life race, people are complaining about the cold, like how people are this weekend in Watkins Glen and all the freaking mud they have there is crazy. Out of topic, yeah, Watkins Glen. Why did they schedule that in spring? I mean, to even take one car on track yesterday for them to say, hey, we probably screwed up with where we scheduled this. Jesus. Watkins Mud, anyway. More Watkins Mud this week.
Hope everyone's having a good night here thus far. Of course, I want to thank everybody.
Yeah, this was before the age of doing the pre-race driver interviews. I really like doing those because not only it's fun, you know, to kind of talk with talk with people I'm interviewing. Like sometimes when I do these interviews, obviously it's quick. It doesn't take that long to do, and plus, you know, afterwards, I have some spare time. We talk about, you know, whatever. Like, I've had some great conversations with the people I've interviewed in the past. I like, not only is it fun doing that, but also it takes up this filler. Whenever I used to say, like, oh, everyone's having a good night so far, blah, 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 and all that stuff, that was just filler for me. Like, to fill out the dead air between the track info and the green flag. So I'm really, I'm glad I don't have to really do this anymore because the interviews are a lot more fun.
For supporting the series throughout this offseason and in development. Thank you, of course, all the drivers who signed up. There are 38 drivers, definitely the biggest field I've ever had for any one of these series.
Oh, little did I know. 2025 PSL last year had 40.
And subsequently, also the paint schemes. Thank you so much for our painters for helping out, painting these beautiful looking cars. Thank you to all of our admins for keeping the server in a great place. And also, of course, a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there in the world.
Yeah, still a few days from now, but happy Mother's Day.
Keeping our lives awesome and working hard every day. But without further ado, it's time to sit back and relax and get this party started. As the pace car now takes a hard, sharp turn down pit road. Fans, everybody at this place, all on their feet, as the wait, the anticipation, the excitement is finally over. As the field comes towards the travel green flag. One last summer for the Golf Summer Series is officially underway.
Yeah, just the first essay is the crowd effect. I wanted some good sound effects for the crowd because it'd be funny to say, oh, everyone in the crowd's on their feet and no one's saying anything. Oh, I run for the first lap.
Good start for Lipsy and Matthew Hill in turns 1 and 2, but Lipsy with the advantage on the inside of helping the 54 of Robertson as we go to turn number 2 now. Here comes RC and Hernandez already making it 4 wide off turn number 2 as RC Gamer, that one car practically on that blue line, manages to move back up while Hernandez tucks him behind the 54. Into turn 3, Lipsy still with the lead. Robertson looks to the inside the 9 car, 4 wide still behind him. As Robertson have a great run going into turn number 4 alongside Hernandez, making it 3 wide already for the lead. Coming to complete the first lap here in the 2022 GSS season officially, it's going to be Lipsy who's going to be the first lap.
hindsight's 2020. First off, I probably should put a graphic up here that said like a 4-year anniversary, because it sounds like I'm just streaming. It looks like from far away I'm just streaming the race again. Second, I forgot I used to talk even during the first laps of these. I like staying quiet for the first lap. Normally, it gives you time to appreciate the cars going by, because a lot of broadcasts do that. They stay quiet for the first lap or so. And second, it saves time for me for editing. I always try to save as much time as I can to edit the commentary, because honestly, everything else does not take that long. Like the graphics don't take that. Okay, maybe doing the races, like running the races, take some time, because I do run multiple in case if one gets a race file gets corrupt or something. But making the graphics, putting everything in the editor does not take that long in the grand scheme of things. Even doing the points doesn't really take that long. But it's the commentary and editing said commentary to take a while. Like editing commentary can take like a full day sometimes for me to do, like off and on. Sometimes I have to take a few hours break from recording, and then go back, yada yada yada. Sometimes I manage to do both. Like sometimes I manage to do a commentary, like record my voice lines, and then edit most of it on the same day, and then like I resume the next morning of the race. That's what I typically did, but that's the part that really took the longest time. Like everything else doesn't take that long. It's just the commentary and editing said commentary into the race that takes the longest for these races. So that's why I still, even in the very end, we had a lot of delays.
3 wide still for the lead into turn number 1. Here comes Gaming Crew for a huge run. The 28 car fell from his teammate Ryan Wilson to 48, and affiliate driver the 97 to Nathan Stapleton. Off for turn 2, a swarm of RC Motorsport cars and their affiliate, like I said, the 97, all behind Hernandez. As Gaming Crew
That's why we had 5 drivers per team limit at the time, huh?
Really touched that time by. That's the package needs to go into turn number 3. Random J almost.
And this was the first time using this graphic too. I tried using the fade. That's what I tried doing, because it looked fine here, but then here it just didn't look as good. I do like the current one, which was like the slash with the triangle for the old Palm Summer League one.
Let's blow that blue line. While he starts using up all that track space, as here comes Gaming with a good run through turn 3 and 4.
Wide already. Oh my
Side by
god.
side with Hernandez. Off turn number 4 now down towards the tri-oval. And of course, much like Talladega, the start-finish line is a lot further down compared to a usual track. Provides some really good racing. No exception here, as Hernandez barely leaves Gaming Creek that time by.
Yeah, the timing wasn't the
Gaming
best
Creek
either, because it's too nearly wrecked. What I did at the time, and I was still trying to experiment. Again, this was my first time editing a full points race with this computer, with this laptop. Again, before I used my Lenovo Yoga, and whenever I record like on the Lenovo, the audio is really quiet, but the Dell computers have like this like audio waves max thing, or like audio. It's weird. Let me see if I can pull it up, because I'm on my computer after all. Oh yeah, this. It has this. It's basically a form of bloatware, which you should probably which most people probably uninstall, rightfully so. But if you uninstall this, it would fuck up the audio really bad on your computer. Like the audio would not work at all. So I use this to kind of like, you can do this, you can do that. But using this made my audio samples louder. So, but before I had to do that, and even still at this race, when I was on the old Lenovo, I would record my portion. I would record all my audio, and then arrange it in order, and then afterwards, I'd export just the audio to Adobe Audition, so I can increase how loud the audio gets. Actually, no. Oh, no, did it do that? No, what I did was... No, I'm trying to think. How I did. Yeah, No, okay, yeah, no. In 2021 and 2020, I got every single audio and just increased the audio gain by like 4, which was bad. And then after that, I started to edit the audio, export the audio after I arranged it, and put it back onto the editor. When I export just the audio, when I put it to Adobe Audition, I increased the audio gain or whatever, and then put it back into Adobe. So it's all just one audio file instead of just each individual one. I know it sounds really weird how I describe it, but yeah, I remember doing that. But the audio part also took a while in my older in the older races, but here since this race, it's been a lot quicker to do the audio for the races, the commentary audio to say, like, not having to, like, I just said, like, it takes the longest part for me to edit. Well, it still takes the longest part for me to edit, but like before 2022, editing, I had to go to every individual little audio file that I recorded for my commentary, and I would have, depends on how long the race, I can have like 70, 80 different audio files I record for a race, and I have to like individually like manage every peak and gain. That took forever, but this was the year I really sped things up of that at least that part of the audio.
In the middle,
It still takes a while to do.
Here goes Random J down to 53, the first Pontiac to recruit up towards the front here today. We're both in the 33 of Xavier.
Oh, crowd never got an Albert there
here tonight.
I think they're teammates that year.
Off to Random J is going to get around the two Chevys of Hernandez at Gaming Freak. As here comes another Ford, Kyle Salmon, the 36, with help from the 99 of Dan Micarola. With Random now moving towards the middle.
Hey, you can see Jordan
still 4 wide towards the middle, backward half of the pack. As here comes Kyle Salmon for a huge run on the inside.
You can see Jordan still in the middle of the pack. Obviously, it's still early. Doesn't matter.
Kellen Baker in the 21. With the 17 of Dan Mateo, of course, also the top 2 point finishers back in 2020.
I'll probably pause every time I talk.
Coming towards the stripe once again, Kyle Salmon, the 38 now, waiting this time by, but his former teammate Carter is going to get a huge run into turn number 1. And will clear the 38 with ease, but here comes a fellow Pontiac, David Johnson, the 2 car. And as you may notice, there's a lot more Pontiacs in the field this year. Last year we had 5 Pontiacs, 4 of them being Atlanta cars. But now that number is
there were more Pontiacs, I remember. Thank you, passed me for reminding myself, because you had the Atlanta cars, me, Jordan, and Keisher. Just Cause, I previously mentioned, Joe T, and of course Baker and David Johnson. Okay, so you had multiple. The Jacolan cars were also Pontiacs too. We had a decent amount of Pontiacs in 2022, because there was only a handful in 21. There were more in 2022 than around the PSL. When PSL came along, the Pontiac numbers kind of went down.
Double to 9, with many more teams besides Atlanta Motorsports having Pontiacs here in the field. Meanwhile, due turn 3 and 4 comes Roberto Crown for huge run, fell from the fellowship.
Yeah, the manufacturer counts are interesting because I'm pretty sure this season was predominantly Chevy, but once we got the PSL, it was mostly Dodge. That's part of the reason why Dodge won championships and all the championships in PSL, because there's just there were more Dodges than Chevys in PSL.
But in the 13, his 2 teammates, but these Chevys definitely do look really well together as we've seen in past super speeder races. Coming to the trial, looks like Roberto Crown.
And admittedly, I kind of fucked up for the first golf season about Dodge, because I put Toyota instead of Dodge as a typo, and only one person signed up as a Dodge.
We'll have the advantage over David Johnson. He'll come to lead lap number 5, his first GSS lap led.
We're already getting dicey back there.
In the turn 1 once again, 4 wide behind the leaders, with the 19 of Caleb Rose getting a huge run on the inside. As an inside has definitely been the place to be here tonight, as you get huge runs, especially off the turns. And Rose will take advantage of that, as will take the lead from Roberto Crown. Here comes another rookie, Noah Clifton, the 76. And from the number 6 car, Bradley Ream.
Yeah, Clifton was in this.
Veteran helping a rookie out there into turn number 3. Ream tries to look to the inside of Clifton that time by, but backs off. Miles also looks to the inside of Bradley there, going into turn number 4.
For the race.
Clifton still with the advantage. Ream still trying to look to the outside as the 76 moves up to the middle. As him and Browder are now side by side for the lead. It looks like this time by it's going to be Clifton who leads over the 6 car.
Sorry for always changing the audio, but still.
In the turn number 1, the pack throughout, still 4 wide. Her pace racing against the last lap. You know, just 6 laps.
I saw there when I was starting that commentary in the audio kind of clipped. I kind of cut a little bit of the audio out of what I was saying. I try to be careful not to do that, but sometimes that Adobe Razor Blade tool is not the most accurate.
Into this entire season. And speaking of which, the 6th of Bradley Ream. We got a good run in the middle this time. And we'll take the lead away from Clifton. Here comes Jordan down the 11 car. Practically all by himself in the inside lane. Definitely trying to help Cass Stevens or his teammate Keisha Hutchinson comes to help him out here as he comes down the back starting into turn number 3. Oh, check no, McMurrow in the 10 car is going to make it 4, nearly 5 wide into turn number 3 for 3rd. And the biggest victims of that move from McEnroe is definitely Clifton and Rose, as there was a lot of spots on the outside lane. Going into turn number 4, here comes Miles now looking for the lead on Brad.
It still ceases to amaze me how even 4 years later, how aggressive everyone is at these type of races.
Once again, of course, Miles has tried numerous times to get around that 6 car, but looks like he will this time by, coming towards the tribal, and coming to lap number 7, Owen Miles side by side with Reem. Looks like he'll barely beat Reem to the line. On board Matt Fernandez 13, right behind Bradley going into turn number 1 on the outside lane. And see Cass Stevens and Johnson nearly touched there going into turn number 2. Which definitely goes to show you how close these drivers are to one another, especially with 38 cars now on the track. Down the back straightaway, Miles and Reem still side by side, and here comes Jordan Stout again.
Just cause Ed
this time fell from his Pontiac
DJ still
affiliate,
making contact there. Wow.
Into turn 3, Brendan Beal at 16, practically on that blue line there, but keeps it on the.
That's right. Beal was in the 6th. That's right. Beal had numbers that weren't 37 in years past, huh? Because he was, what, the 22 in 2021? Yeah, he was the 22. Then the 16, and he went back to the 37 once PSL came along. Well, he won the championship that first year.
Track, and he's going to make it 4 wide on the 2 Pontiacs of Stout and Richardson, as well as the 13 Burnett, as they come off turn number 4 now. And you can see some of these bigger names already towards the back of the pack. See, defending series champion.
Admittedly, I still keep in some commentary, like I kind of mispronounce words or stumble over my words a little bit to kind of make it sound realistic, because not every even the best commentators in real life have stumble over the words sometimes.
RC Gamer, who was up for an earlier, Joe T in the 8 car, Johnny Hernandez, Whoopsie, your pole sitter, among others. And looks like last time around, Miles did beat Bradley to the line, as the 6 car be stuck on an outside lane with his teammate Brendan Beal making it 3 wide. As it looks like, the 31 Roberto Crowns goes a lot of spots on that outside lane. I think almost hit the wall going into turn number 2. Looks like now in the wall off turn number 2 there. Managed to keep it steady so far as it comes down the back.
Clifton, yep, there to go.
The field. It's David Johnson, Roberto Crown, Noah Clifton, among others. Caution already out here at Armory Digital. Kellen Baker involved, Joe T involved, Gaming Freak involved. And you'll see the 2 damage of the 2 Pontiacs of Johnson and Joe T.
Yeah, I mentioned Pontiacs, how there were 9, and I jinxed them. Freaking a third of them were involved in this wreck.
As long as Noah Clifton and Richard Herman, as Herman's chances of winning the final Armory Digital race are definitely going to be in question after this. See, Gaming Freak Roberto Crown with a lot of damage on the 31. As you see some of the other drivers that managed to escape that barely. As that time by Owen Miles.
I was about to say Beal, but it's Owen. It was Owen in the 37. Wow. That Panthers car looks good, even though I'm a Falcons fan. That was the base for the, the scheme Eric Jones did a throwback to in 2020, which was off like a Tony Stewart 2004 or 5 Home Depot car. It works really well with the Panthers colors.
Barely beat Ross McWillow to the line. Probably by thousandths of a second there. He's charged in 3rd of Braden Carruthers, your winner from last year. Currently in 4th from Brendan Beal, rounding off the top 5. But anyways, let's take a look at the instant replays to what caused the first caution here in the final Golf Summer Series season. So ours started calling.
Now that sequence made no sense, because as soon as these guys came off turn 4, they went that pit road. But I kind of mentioned this earlier, I hate dead air during races, because there's just something about dead air I hate, and that's kind of one downside of having just me commentate the race. If I had like someone else in the booth, we'd definitely have more of a could have maybe some discussions between me and the other booth person about that wreck, how like this wreck, for instance, how it happened and whatnot. But that's the problem. That's the side effect of doing a single commentator. You have a lot of dead air.
Off turn number 2, watch the 31 of Roberto Crown Jr. hitting the wall off 2, and subsequently being a catalyst of why this accident even happened. So there's a crowd here, runs out of room, hits the wall off 2 there. And they get stuck on the outside lane, 5 wide of Herman, David Johnson, Clifton, and just nowhere for anyone to go. I think maybe Herman came up on David Johnson, and therefore subsequently caused all this chaos to happen. So you see the damage on a lot of good cars early here at Armory Digital.
Gaming Freak missed that, right? Yeah, look.
Take a look at the angle up above. Yeah, I think it's maybe a combination of Johnson getting into Herman, and Herman coming up on.
I didn't cut that right there, huh? Let me look again. Oh, no.
Johnson, and just, again, subsequently, when everyone reckoned, see Carol Bros getting a little bit of damage in the 19, Calvin Baker hitting the 2 car there. Roberto Crown having nowhere to go in the 31 after hitting the wall. Damn, Matt
Mattiello, wow.
17. Oh, you know, hits a little bit
Wow, Mattiello. No, he hit a little bit.
of Roberto
So he's
Crown.
fine. Mattiello, wow, and everyone on the inside here managed to get through. I barely missed, huh?
Most who comes out of that out unscathed. Nathan Baird 87 gets by.
I will say, watch that 88 car of Hoodlum throughout this race, because this dude's this is funny because the scheme is Dale Jr.'s 2017 car, except the numbers are a different color. But still, I remember that Talladega race. Jr. ran that car with all the names on it. He kept barely missing wrecks or just barely getting damage at these wrecks. Well, this car was really like that in this race.
Series champion Hoodlum alongside Random J. 23 of Andrew Williams and there's Joe T. There pretty much nowhere to go. And in the 76 there, which the Gaming Freak was going to avoid it here, but it hits.
Oh, come on, man! You could have. Come on, man!
On board with Richard Herman.
You could have stopped and turned left. Jesus, dude.
And once you got turned, there's just nothing much you can do except for hang on, hope for the best.
And yeah, Herman, this was the scheme they used in 2020. Or Herman had made also a Doge scheme for 2020 and also like a Valvoline car in 2021. But Herman didn't get their scheme in time. I was like, oh, what do you want me to use a pass car? I was like, they're like, yeah, just use 2020. So that's why Herman reused 2020, the 2020 scheme in 2022. I just changed the Golf logo banner.
On board of Caleb Rose. So this happens right in front of him. Barely hits Clifton there in the 76. Most like his teammate Mattiello gets out of that relatively unscathed and probably will continue the rest of this race. Anyways, back to leaders where we got pit stops for the first time happening this year. Led by Owen Miles and Ross McMurrow.
Yeah.
As it looks like pretty much everyone in this running order will all come down pit road.
Yeah, like I said, if the continuity was right, I'd still continue to talk as these guys were coming out pit road. But I kind of spliced it from the pace lap, replay, and then back to the same lap. Let's just say they had a red flag, although they went down the back straight away, so whatever. they had a red flag one. Let's just say. Maybe that's my excuse for the continuity error, but it's whatever. It's not, at least it's not during the race. Like, green flag race.
Now, of course, in the last two Armory digital races, we've had some collisions happen on pit road. But especially with this being a really narrow pit lane compared to other tracks. But hopefully that won't happen here tonight.
Yeah, it is an narrow pit lane. Didn't really realize that.
I see McMurrow, Brendan Beals in, Nick Sant, among others. Take on this beautiful shot of all.
Oh no, this was the Vancouver race. The race after this, Vancouver. That's when I actually start using the pit road, like the pit road sound effects a little bit in the background, because there's another time where I just hate when there's no noise or anything going on in the background. I always want something going on. Not just because, to keep people's attention spans, but, you know, just to have something going on in the video. Have something going on in the video, make it feel more realistic and alive.
Cars coming in and out of pit road, like most everyone's doing gas only and skimming tires all together.
Also, thank God for better cautions disabling pit road collisions, because that was a massive problem for the first several series I did, for the first two golf seasons I did, and even the winter stuff as well.
Like race off of pit road, Owen Miles first.
Well, we still had pit road collisions. I had that weird ass wreck at Papyrus.
By a landslide. It looks like it's going to be Ross McTrain barely edging out Keisha Urchin for second. As Richard will fall down to third. Jason Albert up to fourth. And Brittany Carruthers up to fifth. Of course, don't forget about next week when we head to our first short track and brand new track of the season at the Vancouver.
Yeah, I can already tell the audio sounds different. I'm not sure if it sounds different. I'm wearing headphones, so. That's the problem. Sometimes, that's why, especially in races in the past, where, okay, the music's kind of quiet, but the commentary is, like, kind of loud. And the headphones is opposite. Sometimes, like, you hear really subtle music, and you're better hear subtle music with headphones. I think I've gone better at kind of better managing the audio, like the background noise, like the cars going around, and my commentary in more recent races. I think they're more balanced now, but before it was always kind of, it was leaned more into the commentary was much louder than the actual race. But yeah, this audio clip me from Vancouver
International Speedway.
This was recorded later, and obviously May 15th and a half, because I was at finals and everything in high school. This was my senior year in high school. This was my last several weeks in high school when I made this race. But this is an audio I record because even after I record all the main audio, sometimes when I edit it, I reviewed the audio and was like, oh, it doesn't sound that good, or I fucked up and said something wrong. I sometimes go back, re-record briefly what I have to say, save it, put into Adobe, and edit it right there on the spot.
They're going to show next Sunday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, barring any delays. Taking on some of the rest of the drivers coming out of pit road
That's not
here.
good camera work for me.
Like I said, Miles will be coming out first and back onto the track. Anyways, under caution already here in the 2022 Golf Summer Series season.
That was a weird
We'll go back to
transition.
you guys after this.
Like, just showing all the cars and then cutting the commercial break. Okay. Okay, past me.
Welcome back to opening night of the 2022 Golf Summer Series season. We're about to come back green after a multi-car incident in the back straightaway involving 2021 and Richard Herman, the rookies of Noah Clifton and Roberto Crown Jr., David Johnson, among others.
That skyline shot of Seattle reminded me of like an idea I had for one of the Palm series, where I'd go on Microsoft Flight Simulator, go to whatever city I am, and just do like an establishing like when I start after the intro. I just fly around the establishing city, kind of like how they do in real, kind of like how they do in a real life broadcast. Because obviously I don't have the money or time to go to every individual. Like I did it for like Atlanta and Myrtle Beach one year, where I happened to be in the area at the time. I think it was Atlanta for 2022 and also Myrtle Beach also for 2022. I recorded footage from the said area, put in one of the commercial back from commercial break portion of it. But I was thinking about doing something similar for Flight Simulator for Palm, but that was gonna take too much time because the way I'll have to record in Flight Simulator is kind of weird.
And you can see for the first time ever in GSS history, we're going to have a double file restart. This was, of course, implemented during the Holiday Winter Racing League, and GSS officials.
And this was another aspect of better cautions. I like the better cautions because you got double file restarts. You don't have the lap car starting up front. Now the better cautions sucked at the short tracks. They sucked at the short tracks. A part of the reason why Martinsville for the final golf race was so chaotic as it was because of the better cautions. But even after the double file restart, I had to say with the double file restarts, what they do for the double file restarts is that for the restarts, they ghost the cars. They make sure they ghost the cars. Like if a car gets too close to one, they just drive right through. When you see newer races from 2022 onwards, see cars just driving through one another. That's how it is for the restarts. But then I think just before the leader takes the green flag, the cars get back, don't ghost. They are back as normal cars, and then boom. That's why all the Martinsville stuff happened.
Decided to carry
But for every other track, the double file restarts are great.
it over to the Summer Series, as it worked out very well over there. Currently, the only car out of this race is the 31 Roberto Crown Jr. Well, everyone else who is involved in that will stay out on the track will be of heavy damage to those cars. Currently, your top three is Owen Miles in the 37, followed by Ross McMurrow and A-Star Railroad champion Keyshawn Richardson. As the field comes back towards the travel in the start-finish line, as we're back into green here at Armory Digital. And the Pontiacs of Richardson and Miles got a good start on the inside lane. As I mentioned earlier, the inside lane is definitely the place to be at this track, especially in the turns. And Miles is once again going to take advantage of that as they go into turn number 2. Join us out once again on the inside, 3 wide behind the leaders. We went from the 90 and Matthew Hill. Definitely unusual to see a Ford and Pontiac. We're going to get here to Super Speedway, but what's happening now? Into turn 3, Richardson peeking to the inside of Miles as he looks to take the lead away from the 37. Looks like he'll get a good...
Well, halfway down the video, huh? And I'm going to be more quiet than usual. I mean, well, we kind of get up, I'll probably talk a lot more about the race. But what I'm trying to do is, in between my breaks, I add my input, because I hate talk. If I talk like this, when I'm talking, it's going to sound annoying.
Turn number 4, and he'll come down in front of his teammate to take the lead away from Miles. Definitely great teamwork there for those Atlanta drivers, as both the 11 and 24 rocket towards the front as your A-Star Railroad champion, lead lap number 13.
It's crazy how long I've been teammate for Atlanta Motorsports, my old team, in this series. It's crazy for how long me, Jordan, and X-Man or Keishawn Richardson here were teammates. We were teammates, all three of us, since the Anthony days. That's crazy. Like, we were teammates from the Anthony days until just last year of the Palm Summer League.
All board was Jordan Stout going into turn
Well,
number 1.
Technically, we were Baker Racing drivers last year.
As both him and his teammate Richardson will get a great run on the inside once again, trying to gain as much ground as possible before everyone inevitably catches back up. They see Clifton in the 76 that time by
Oh, wow,
at the
they're
pace.
wiggly.
Well, some of the other drivers were involved in that last caution, such as Herman and Joe T among others. So oddly keeping up with the rest of the field. So for good news if you're fans of those drivers.
Wait, if I press... What if I press space? Is it, does it pause? Yeah, okay.
And you see Nixon making it 4 wide all the way towards the bottom of that track. That was able to work for him in that 20. As here comes Stout side by side with his teammate for the lead as they come towards the tribal into lap number 15 of 36 here at Armory Digital.
Yes, I say as a lot. I don't know why. I type as a lot whenever I have to do essays for college or school or whatever. I don't know. There's something about me saying as a lot. I don't know.
As the
I
two
don't
landing cars are still side by side. Round goes Ryan Wilson and Ryan Roberts going into the front. Alex Scott Stevens, Dan McRow, Andrew Williams, and others involved as the caution's already back out. And you see there Kellen Baker and David Johnson involved in this one as well. And you saw there was heavy damage. So that two of Johnson likely done for the day.
When I was doing the when I was calling that recording that initial voice line of me recording that caution, yeah, we're halfway in the race too. Or just about in the race length. When I was recording that call, saying, "Oh, round goes to cars," that was another redo because I fucked up the first time.
Definitely not the way he wanted to start off his GSS season.
Ooh,
Gamer
yeah.
Creek also involved in this in the 28. Also got a lot more damage than last time. And you see the damage to the 42 of Ryan Roberts, Ryan Wilson.
Crazy to think that Ryan and David Johnson, well, obviously Ryan won the championship. David Johnson also was a championship contender later in the season. Obviously, for this golf being much longer than Palm Summer League, part of that, well, you could have still did mediocre you still could have wrecked down the first Palm race last year and still won the championship because that was the longest Palm Summer League season. But for golf, obviously, you had more time if you fuck up the first couple races. Because Ryan, at one point, I remember in the season was like 35th in points. I think it was going into the Roval. Yet, despite that, he still won the championship. No playoffs or any bullshit like that. We don't do playoffs here. And you can see some of these cars towards the middle or back half of the field who did avoid it, have all slowing down, except for this main group of drivers led by Nathan Stapleton in 97. Now, going back to the playoff stuff, to be fair, when I was, and I said this during one of the Never Canceled Ideas tab, I probably should update that tab more, that in 2020, when I was playing golf, when I had those races of, those final 5 races of, what was it? It was Darlington, 8 Bowl, Abu Dhabi. No, let me look at it because IRP was the final race. Denver's second to last race. Bristol. Let me look at the schedule again. It's been so long. Well, no. You know, no. IRP was the final race in 2020. Denver was the semifinale. I always had Denver as the semifinale. Bristol, Abu Dhabi in 8 Bowl. Yeah, those final 5 races in 2020, they were structured to have a playoff. They were scheduled that way. It was basically one of each track type. It was structured that way because I was originally going to have a playoff in 2020 for golf. It was going to be like a chase, not necessarily. It was going to be kind of like a chase, or like kind of like the chase to use now. Where okay, after the final 5 races, basically whoever gets the high, I think whoever I was either thinking of either like a chase system, either a chase system or like a mini playoff system, where like somehow drivers get eliminated after every race. But for one, I couldn't find. But the main reason I didn't do a playoff was because I couldn't. The website I used, the NR Weebly site for the points, I couldn't customize the length of the schedule because if I did a cup playoff or chase, it would still be, I would have not have enough for a playoff. And I don't think there's any at the time, any format they had, any point system they had on that website at the time that catered to 24 races or later. That catered to 24 races, later 23, later 22. I know the trucks one year had 24 races. I could have, or 22 races. I could have used that point system as a playoff. But the problem with like a winning year in the playoff is that we had so many different winners in the Golf Summer Series that, yeah, there would be it'll be almost like how 2022 almost happened, where they're based off the points, the number of wins or whatever. I mean, kind of stupid.
As well as his affiliate teammate and Spring Showdown winner, Aiden Robertson, that comes towards the stripe. Stapleton is going to be later this time by.
Point is, it would have been needlessly complicated, like how the NASCAR playoffs were in real life for the longest time.
Penny Crowder's making it 4 wide after the fact there for a moment.
And plus, we still had good championships even without the playoff format, so it would have been really redundant to have to.
Despite the fact that we're not even halfway done with this race, we've already had 2 major incidents that took out several.
I'm a fucking idiot. That is not halfway. 19 out of 36 will be halfway. I'm a fucking idiot. What the hell is wrong with me?
Key contenders, and we're going to take a look at
I promise, I have decent grades. I'm just an idiot sometimes. I'm a dumbass, alright?
once again to find out why. So auto started coming off the travel. Watch Ryan Wilson in the tail end of this group going 5 wide for whatever reason here. So then Wilson and Williams touch, subsequently run each other into the wall, turning to 42 in the process.
I feel like those type of wrecks happen every time we go to a super speedway. I don't know why it is. I don't think it's an I&I issue because I see even when I test even the stock I&I at these tracks, they still do that. But whenever I say that, like, oh, they make it 5 wide, they force it, someone almost sounds like I'm doing it on saying it as a broken record.
And Cass Stevens having nowhere to go, clipping Kellen Baker there, sending him around that 21 for the second time here tonight. Strong boy for Williams here in the 23. Yeah, Williams has got nowhere to go. He's just sandwiched between the 99 and the 48. Didn't really get too much damage from that, but definitely not the way he wanted to start off his Golf Summer Series career. Take a go to slow motion now. Wilson just ran the 23 and 99 into the wall.
Hoodlum was up. Okay, Hoodlum was in front of that. Okay.
Subsequently turned into 42 in the process. Cass Stevens having nowhere to go. Gaming Freak again involved in this one.
Oh, you missed that.
Joe T barely missed this time
Oh,
in the
did he
8
miss?
car. And I can see Johnson River ending.
Oh no,
the
he got into the 42. I was a little too early when I edited that in.
got a 48 hard there, practically ending that 2 cars day. And in my opinion, I think it's just another example of someone being way too aggressive early in a race, causing everyone else to suffer. As under caution again here at Armory Digital for opening night.
Okay, now about to hit halfway. I can count.
Welcome back to Armory Digital for Golf Summer Series opening night.
I thought I screwed it up. I thought it said lap 1 of 22, but it's race 1 of 2022. I'm good.
As you got to look at the Lux Hotel off turn number 4. After a very luxurious hotel that was fully booked before this weekend's festivities. But anyways, we're about to go back green after another multi-car incident, this time in the front stretch.
I wish this track existed in real life, because if it did, I would have flown and stayed at this hotel if I had the money. I wish more NASCAR tracks had hotels like that. I know Daytona, because I'm trying to go to Daytona soon. They have a hotel like a luxury hotel right across the racetrack, but doesn't look at the racetrack. I know, and also the Hilton, the famous I guess not famous, but if you watch enough Daytona races, you know what I'm talking about. The Hilton Garden Inn overlooking the track. I guess that kind of counts, but not really like this one.
Well, Ryan Wilson.
I know obviously Atlanta, Texas, and Charlotte have apartments, or condos, I should say, but not hotels. I would still I know those Atlanta, Charlotte, and Texas. I know those condos at those tracks do pop up on Airbnb from time to time. I would definitely like to stay one night in there, but probably not for a race, because those are the first to go. Those are the first to go for Airbnbs when it comes to races. If I probably know a lot. I probably know more than I should when it comes to planning for trips and races, because I do so many of them.
Mick Roller, Cass Stevens in the 12 among others. And you see some of the cars already out of this race. David Johnson and 2 cars involved in both engines here so far tonight, alongside Gaming Freak and the 2020 Summer Series champion Kellen Baker. So there are some big drivers already out here in this big race. Currently top 3 is rookie Nathan Stapleton in 97, followed by his affiliate teammate Aiden Robertson in 54, and Jordanstown 11 car.
And some more context, Aiden Robertson was with RC Motorsports. That was the main team. The RC Motorsports was the main team. And then Staples' team at the time was aligned with RC's team, because they're both Chevys. But then Staple later was aligned with Railfan and Bradley's team, Railfan Motorsports, or Yeah, Motorsports. Railfan Motorsports. I thought it was Railfan Racing.
With Braden Carruthers, last winner of this race, currently in 4th.
Yeah, I mispronounced that.
The field comes back towards the start-finish line. The green flag's back in the air here at Armory Digital. And this time a good start for the outside, led by Aiden Robertson. I will be surprised if Robertson and Stapleton have had some communications before the restart, as again both RC Motorsports and NS Racing have a technical alliance.
Oh, X-Man, here he comes. I had to go with Jordan. Guess not.
Here comes Keisha Ernst once again, the 24 fell from this time. Trey Smith in the 22. Now Smith looks to the inside of Richardson, making it 4 wide. His teammates Stout and Braden Carruthers. 54.97 continue to lead into turn number 3, as Smith's going to tuck right behind Richardson and Nick Sands with Ray once again for 3rd. As that happens, here comes Stapleton looking for the lead on Robertson off turn number 4. Much like a other drivers here tonight, Stapleton is going to take advantage of that inside lane off turn number 4, get a huge run as he's still side by side with his affiliate teammate. As they come towards the tri-oval into lap number 21.36, they're dead heat coming towards the line. Robertson barely got Stapleton that time by. Right, here comes the Atlanta cars once again, and Richardson and Stout. Richardson being all by himself.
I love how all the Atlanta cars, except for me, all in this mix. Oh, Bradley and Herman about to touch.
Inside, Stout getting right behind the 97. As the 97 and 24 side by side going into turn number 2.
Looks that was another redo audio clip.
Like Richardson's move's going to pay off as off turn number 2. Keisha Ernst back up front. Down the back, Richardson's going to come up in front of his teammate Stout in the middle. Smith will stand on the inside. Looks like no. Smith's going to move towards the inside middle, open the door to Nick Stand into turn number 3 with the 20 almost all by himself. And much like Richardson, the previous set of quarters, Nick Stand to the point here at Armory Digital.
This is definitely a good shot. I always like these type of. I'll admit, looking back, I do a lot of these type of shots when they're coming off the corners, but to be fair, TV does that as well. This is a good shot. I do like it. Although those buildings in the background are kind of blurry.
Nick Stand up towards the middle, now back down towards the inside. He's now side by side.
To be fair, it's a 20-plus-year-old. It's a 2-decade-year-old game. You can only do so much to make high resolution stuff.
Xavier in the 33. It will still be enough for the 20 to lead his first lap of the season. Here comes Lipsy out of nowhere, making it 4 wide behind the leaders as he now side by side to 20 and 33.
It's a different track and a different race, but I swear, I was thinking because, like, Lipsy, obviously Lipsy here, but whenever we run the Firecracker 400, that dude has no luck at that track whatsoever. I'm pretty sure every single Firecracker, I feel bad for him, because Lipsy's does nothing wrong. He's one of the OGs in here. Every time we race Daytona, that dude always gets involved in an accident. I feel so bad. Like last year, I was like, oh, he actually might not get in an accident. Nope. Got into a wreck.
But looks like Xavier and Hernandez are going to checkmate Lipsy off turn number 2. And they both pull away for the 9 car.
Why did I say that?
And speaking of Hernandez, he'll look to the inside of Xavier. Down the back shoulder and into turn number 3. As he's going to force Rich into the middle. Once again, 3 wide with him and Nick Stance.
Oh, there he goes up the track. 4 wide again.
Hernandez down the middle fell from Jordan Stout. Stout's been helping out a lot of these drivers up towards the front, especially on the inside, as him and Hernandez pull away from the 33 with defending series champion Hodom in the 88 right in tow. As we come to lap number 23 for the first time in 2022, this time for our first GSS, crank it up.
Unfortunately, we're gonna crank it down a little bit. Oh, my headphones are loud. I'm gonna crank it down a little bit so I can get some more look at that. Wow, so stable. Trey Smith there. Oh, they're about to touch again. Yeah, crank it up is I do longer. Like I know like in real life when you do crank it up, it's like maybe a minute or two, like maybe a minute, maybe 2. But I like to crank it up. So like sometimes they're anywhere from 2 to like 4 minutes. Sometimes I've made crank it ups 4, maybe I think maybe even tried a 5-minute crank it up at some point. But the reason why I do it, which is another reason for me, save time. I like longer crank it ups because it saves time for me to edit the commentary. It saves a lot of time. Anything I could do, there's anything I could do. And the shots are really, I like these shots. I always like these shots like that. But I do whatever it takes to save time to make these races, especially how I make these races. Basically, I don't finish these races. There's very rare cases where I finish the races like days beforehand, but usually when I finish these races, it's usually the day of, hours before I say, okay, it's 8 o'clock start time. I don't finish the race until like 4, and then that 2-hour window is when the race gets uploaded. Partly, and the reason why, and usually by like 7 o'clock, 7:30, it's like, okay, finally it's uploaded, because my internet sucks. And finally the HD is uploaded, the HD version's ready to go. Because sometimes I've had races where the HD version's not ready to go during the start time. And yeah, and that schedule I had, I had with races. That's another reason why I have so many delays, because I do everything at the last minute. Not partly because I always do that, even with school stuff, but also just because, again, there's just so many moving pieces. So many moving pieces when it came to making these races, especially these full-length season races. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped doing full NR series, is because when I started off with golf, I could do a race in like 2 to 3 days, or 2 to 4 days, I should say. But now it takes me over a week, easily. Like for Palm, it took me over a week. I have to do is 8 to 9 days at least for a Palm race.
26 of 36 here in opening night for the 2020.
Increase the audio back up, but yeah, that's part of the reason why we had so many delays, and that Crank It Up is part of my effort to kind of save time when making these races. I want to save as much time as I can to make these races, because I guess my rule of thumb when I was editing commentary was, for super speedrunners, I move relatively quick. I can probably get 7 to 8 minutes worth of commentary done per hour. But for road courses and even some intermediates, and especially the short tracks, that take much longer. Much longer to do. Because for short tracks, I commentate, I over-explain things so much, and by the time I'm done explaining, something else has already happened, because the short tracks move really fast and everything. And I guess the last note I'll leave on this, the only times I remember that I got a race out well before the scheduled start time was 2020 Abu Dhabi, because I was leaving for the Bristol night race and I need to finish it early. And let me think of another one. Like when I say scheduled start time, like days before it's done. I'm trying to think of another one. What was some races I got done beforehand? Like, well, several days before the commentary. Oh, 2024 Palm Summer League opener at Tennessee, because I was leaving for Charlotte.
22 Summer Series season, only a lot of laps to go here at Armory Digital.
Who done this race?
Last time I had the lead with a 7. This power.
Oh, wow.
Going out front.
Robertson,
of course.
Radu,
As he has help from 90 and Matthew Hill, and the 16 of Brendan Beal. As it comes the inside lane once again, led by Brad Ream and Ross McRolla. Of course, the inside lane has prevailed many times, especially going into the turns. And when anyone joined the 6
they're
and
so
10,
4 wide. 5 wide!
This time by. Looks like the 54 will alongside the 16 and 90.
Yes,
completely leaving the 7 out to dry until Burnett picks him up here off turn number 4. Almost 3 wide for the way once again, coming towards the start-finish line. This time by 10 laps to go here in Armory Digital. As now Robertson makes it 4 wide.
Oh, here we go.
There.
Robertson almost making it 4 wide.
Oh, hold him in the wall in the 88. And you remember, saw Erlen crank it up. He was out front a little bit earlier.
Oh,
but now he's going to fall all the way back towards the tail end of this pack. Lots of ground Ross there for the 88. Definitely a tough break there. Looks like Codom's not going to lose too much ground. He's touching right between the 19 and 95.
He still lost a lot of ground, though, past me. I didn't have to add that in.
So Manero drivers here towards the back. Keystone Anderson, Johnny Hernandez.
Oh, here I come.
Robertson to 42. Remember earlier, he was involved in the last caution. Has some damage on that back end, but still racing. Keeping the rest.
I probably should have paused that when I said that, but whatever. Here comes the inside again.
The field's definitely an impressive rebound, and definitely one interesting car to say the least. If it ever gets displayed in a museum or something.
Why did I say that?
The front, here comes random J.
I said the most weirdest shit sometimes when I did these.
Fell from Salmon 38, making it 3 wide for the lead. Coming to lap number 20 is going to be close. Beal barreled that time by. But as I said, here comes Salmon, making it 4 wide for the lead into turn number 1. Random and RC nearly touched there.
Oh, no, almost touched again.
Salmon on the inside of Felton 61 and Jordan Forbes now. It's going to get a huge run off of turn number 2 and clear the rest of the leaders. Salmon to the lead here at Armory Digital.
But this is when the start. this is when these races start to really heat up. Even when I know, honestly, even though when I even watched it, because sometimes when I did races, like when the races would premiere, I'd join Discord and a few people would join me to do like live reactions of a race and whatnot. Even when I rewatched the races with other people in the chat, both in the voice chat and the stream chat or premiere chat in that case. Even still, sometimes during these races, I get nervous. And I know what happens because I freaking edited these damn things.
Now Random Jake gets another good run in the middle off turn number 2, and Salmon's going to come to the block. And that's going to be an opportunity for Forbes to get together with his new teammate in Carter, Jason Armory in the 80, as the pack heads to turn number 3. 3 wide once again for the lead. Smith in middle as the 2 Albert cars of Forbes and Jason Albert with help from Ross Retrain in the 10 are going to get another good run on the inside as the Chevys are walking past by the Ford and Dodge.
I forgot Forbes was with Corvette's team this year because Forbes is interesting because he's bounced around from many teams. I forgot what team was. Oh, he was in his own team in 21. He was with Albert in 22. Beacon Mopar, was it Beacon Mopar in 20? No, what did he? I forgot his team in 20. Maybe Beacon Mopar in 20. I forgot, but no, was he? I forgot. What was his team in 20? What was his team in 2023? Then Beacon Mopar. No, Beacon Mopar was 24. And then he was with, what, I forgot what team in 25, but still. He always bounced around from team to team, which is always interesting.
Forbes going to go up to the middle of the block, Smith.
But especially in PSL, he was still really good, so it didn't really matter.
But here comes Albert, side by side with the 61. Coming towards the tribal and coming to lap number 29 to 36. Only 8 laps to go. Heard Armory's right. Go Roberts again to 42. He collects Brendan Beal. Lipsy. He's going to be a huge wreck here in turn number 1.
I don't know. For a reason, I always really like that call.
This powwow, Aiden Robertson, 2 of the RC cars there, got some damage. Lipsy the 90 pole sitter, and the damage on the 90 Matthew Hill.
Raining firecracker 400, by the way, from Matthew Hill.
Miles, I think maybe got through that. Nathan Barrett spun around there a little bit too in the 87. And there you see the heavy rear end damage to Brendan Beal. Definitely had a really good night going for him. Tough wreck there for the 16.
I guess I mentioned, the reason why Nathan Barrett's car said Grover go along, it was a running joke him and Hoodlum had at the time from Family Guy. It was that one Family Guy episode of Robert Gronkowski. Whenever Grover go along happened, something bad would happen, like, oh, fucking car would slam into the house or something stupid. I made 2 versions of that car, one with, like, the Patriots colors, what I saw there, and the other, a white one, had the Buccaneers colors. And Brendan Beal's car here, Hardee's was the sponsor, but I also made a Carl's Jr. version of this game. This game looked the exact same, it said Carl's Jr. instead of Hardee's, because that's the West Coast equivalent.
Meanwhile, side by side for the lead between Xavier and Ross McMarola. Coming towards the tribal and coming to lap number 30. McMarola barely gets the 33 there.
You know, I'll say, because we're getting close to the finish, if that caution never happened, that finish that you're about to see here very shortly, not very shortly, but soon, rather soon, may have never happened. Because...
And you see the leaders are actually about to catch up to the lap car of Alex Cass-Stevens. So if I was a leader, obviously that wasn't involved in the wreck, I'm actually happy the caution's out, so I don't have to deal with the lap traffic. And for Alex Cass-Stevens, I'm also happy that caution came out as well, as he'll stay on the lead lap for probably the rest of this race.
Yeah, there we go. Past me pretty much said it. If that caution never happened, if that wreck never happened, the finish that's in the thumbnail, and half the reason why I've been doing this stream, because the finish was so good, would have never happened. It would have never happened. Like, you got the butterfly effect is crazy. The butterfly effect's present in a lot of things, but is it possible, like, this race wouldn't be where it is without that one lowly caution? Makes you think. It makes you think. Because if the caution ever came out, they would have caught up to just cause here and would have fucked up the rest of the field. Because if you've seen enough NR Super Speedway races, you know how much lap cars fuck over stuff at Super Speedways.
And speaking of which, we're going to take a look at the instant replay, see what caused our biggest wreck so far here tonight. So much like our first...
It wasn't a big one, but it was still a decently sized wreck. That's why I consider it the big wreck of the night. Oh, sorry.
Back in lap number 8. This happened towards the middle of the pack. Watch the 42 of Ryan Roberts here. And much like the previous wreck he was involved in, Roberts comes up in the 90 and 54 and subsequently returns to 16, and all the chaos just happens afterwards.
Oh, Owen.
Again, probably the biggest wreck here so far tonight, eliminating lots of good cars and drivers from Railfan and RC Motorsports respectively.
Let me look at it again, because I almost think that first wreck was larger.
Take a look at this
I may disagree with my past self.
from up above. So much like a previous caution of Ryan Wilson, Roberts just runs Matthew Hill and Robertson out of room. And subsequently returns to 16 of Brendan Beal. Matt TL comes down on Hoodlum, sending the 88 to the...
And watch Hoodlum there on the grass, avoiding it like Dale Jr. did in 2017 Talladega. And maybe second, I guess I said I consider it was larger because it happened up in the front, because this took out some of the contending drivers.
Grass there, and see Nathan Baird spinning a little bit there as he got into the 7 of Powwow. Is the Owen Miles getting a little piece of that in the 37? As the 9, 42, and 7 will come down the rest on the apron. Just go on board with the 54 of Robertson here. Yep, just nowhere for Robertson to go. Much like before for the last 2 cautions.
I forgot Ryan Roberts. That's why I said, oh, Ryan Roberts again in the 42. He wrecked in that second caution. I guess he barely got damaged or didn't get enough damage to really ruin his car. He was still up there. It's crazy. Doesn't typically happen at these races. Whenever a car even gets a little bit of damage at these races, they're kind of fucked for the rest of the night.
Pretty tough wreck there for the Spring Showdown winner. On board the defending series champion, Hoodlum. And yeah, Mateo definitely came down on Hoodlum, sending the 88 there into the grass briefly. But a good save there for Hoodlum, definitely proving why he's worthy of that championship.
Speaking of that, I remember after this race happened, Hoodlum... Oh, shoot, that's all the races there. Didn't mean to do that. Don't open, you're gonna open. Really? Really, really, really? Hold on. Okay, why did I have to do that? That's stupid. Okay, I don't think nothing weird got shown, I don't think. No, nothing got shown. Not like sus stuff, but stuff like secret stuff, like, you know, if I'm pointing, like, you know, personal documents and like future plans possibly. Hint, hint, quote unquote, hint, hint, just saying. What I was trying to show, I probably should have added it. Hold on, let me do this instead. Hold on. This is probably a better idea. So, what I'm trying to show is, okay, so I remember after this race, Hoodlum was like, oh, can you get a picture of my car just kind of, you know, going in the grass and whatnot? Like, missing the records? Like, yeah, sure. So, if I find it here, this is what the picture looked like. I have a bunch of... I'm pretty sure all the NR stuff in this external hard drive, like everything I've done for NR is like over 1 terabyte. Because it's so much stuff here. Where is it? I had it somewhere. Was it in on-track photos? Where is it? Crap. I don't know. No. Was it in the... Let me see. I remember... it's still here somewhere. Here it is. Here it is. There it is. Yep. That's the picture of him avoiding all the cars and carnage and whatnot. This could be a good album cover. That could be a good album cover. Alright. Enough of that.
Anyways, under caution yet again here at Armory Digital for the big one. We'll wrap up for you guys after this.
Wasn't really a big one, past self. Jesus. Here we go. Here we go.
Welcome back to Armory Digital for the 2022 Golf Summer Series opening night. We're about to go back green after a massive, massive wreck in turn number 1.
So Staple and Jordan didn't restarted towards the middle or back of the pack. So when after this race, I'm gonna go in the game and kind of show you like both of them, how they managed to get through the field, and on boards with both of them as well.
Big name
for like the final 2 laps, like final 32 laps.
Drivers including Brendan Beal, Lipsy, Aiden Robertson, Nathan Barrett, among others. And a lot of those drivers who are involved in that aforementioned caution are all the way in the back and are very, very slow or completely out of the race. Currently, top 3 is Ross McMurrola in the 10, followed by rookie Xavier in the 33. Last year's winner, Braden Carruthers,
The sound effect before, I think it was me like grabbing my mic.
with Jordan Flores in the 61, and Jason Albert in the 80.
Didn't realize I was
Currently
in
running
there.
off the rest of the top 5. And interesting to note that 4 out of the 5 drivers I mentioned that are currently in this top 5 have yet to win a Summer Series race. And right now would definitely be a great opportunity for one of them to finally go to victory lane here tonight. As here we go. Green flag, only 3 laps to go here at Armory Digital. And already into turn 1, Jason Albert making a 3 wide of Brendan Carruthers and his teammate Forbes. I would imagine Carruthers was maybe trying to work with his teammate in McMurrola, but obviously that can't happen right now as Albert's going for broke here late in this race. Off turn 2, Albert peeking his nose to the inside the 10.
Some of the things I said are just kind of funny looking back, because Corvette has yet to did not win a race. He took a while from the win. He didn't win until like last winter, which is crazy.
The McMurrola holds him off 2, now down the back straight. Here comes McMurrola's teammate, the 13 of Matthew Burnett. The Spina Biffa drivers haven't worked together too much at all here tonight, but Albert still side by side with McMurrola into turn number 3, and with help from Burnett, Albert's going to get a huge run on the inside and would take the win away from McMurrola. That was a great move by Albert that time by.
Yeah, and that's when I mentioned earlier about the green screen effect for the graphics. That's one Corvette's one of the cars there. The Sonic Sauer Burnett's car there. Joe T's I think as well.
But can he hold his ground against some of these drivers as they come towards the trial board? 2 laps to go here at Armory Digital. Here comes Kyle Salmon again going into turn number 1 to 38.
I think part of the reason why Stout and Staple got up to the field really fast, because not even 1 lap in, barely even a lap after that restart, here they are up in the front. I think it's because a lot of drivers who were in front of them got slow because it got damaged or something. I'm not. We're gonna look. Again, we'll look back after this. We're gonna go to the race and look at the helicopter cam of all of the restart, like from the restart onwards, with both of them in focus, and kind of see how both of them managed to make their way up to the front.
Looks like Bernard will come down in front of the 38. With Stout, Nick Sant, Stapleton, and now Random J moving towards the inside, going into turn number 2. Down the back shoulder, Burnett now towards the middle of the block. Salomon, as he tries to become only the 2nd driver to go 2 for 2 here in the Golf Summer Series. As of course, Burnett won a last points paying Summer Series race back in Martinsville in September. But into turn 3, here comes Salomon for another good run. Fell from Jordan Stout again as we're on board the 11 car. As both Salomon and Stout will get around the 13 with ease. As they come off turn number 4, now Stout will get to the inside of Salomon. Stout briefly tucking back in as he looks to the inside again, and Salomon coming towards the start-finish line. This time by white flags in the air. 1 lap to go here at Armory Digital. Burnett nearly got in the wall.
Oh yeah.
One there as the 38 and 11 are still side by side for the lead. Jordan Stout the advantage going towards the mini straightaway.
So I keep mentioning the inside is the best. Whenever you do Armory Digital or really any super speedway, the inside is always the place to be. Both drivers are on the inside. Nick Sant separating the 2 right now.
Salmon out towards the outside. He goes a lot of ground at 38 as they come off turn number 2 for the final time.
Then Stout and Nick Sant move up. Staple in the bottom now, with me right behind him.
The inside lane led by Nathan Stapleton and Random J trying to put another run as they continue down the back and into turn number 3 for the final time. Here at Armory Digital, here they come on the inside.
Ford making it for a wide there.
Stapleton side by side with Nick Sant. He's going to get a great run off the 20, and now he's going to challenge Stout for the lead. Coming off turn number 4 for the final time.
Yeah, I realize I'm Jordan. I was Jordan's teammate this year, yet I was helping Staple out. That's odd. Nothing against Staple. I'm good friends with him, but he's cool. He's always been cool with me, and he's always been a part of the series. If you're watching Staple, and also if both you and Jordan and or Staple are watching, here comes, well, I guess to quote like CB Nation for their deep rewind. Welcome to a moment in history, y'all.
And here we go, coming towards the tribal, it's going to be another side-by-side finish here on Armory Digital. Stapleton, Stout, who's going to win? Coming to the line, oh my god! But to maybe guess, Stout maybe by inches, looks like the scoreboard will agree. Jordan Stout will win an Armory Digital in the newest closest GSS finish in history, 2 1,000ths of a second.
And it doesn't say on this ticker, because it was so damn close. In the NR, like results page, let me see. I may have gotten a picture of that too. It said 2 1,000ths of a second. Let me see if I can find that. I think I got a picture of that. I think I did. Did I? I'm not gonna do what I did before, so let me see. I think I got it. Yeah, here we go. So this was the screenshot. Just as proof. How close that finish was. 2/1000ths of a second. I mean, that's proof in the pudding right there. Like I said, it didn't show on the ticker because we're so damn close. But when you actually look at the standings in the main menus, it says 2/1000ths of a second. So yeah, I'm not just bullshitting it. It actually was 2/1000ths of a second.
Unbelievable, and how fitting is that? The first GSS race in Armory Digital ends in a photo finish, and the last GSS race in Armory Digital ends in a photo finish. Unreal. Couldn't describe that any better.
Cinema.
Let's take a look at the replay to see what caused Stout to win in this unbelievable fashion.
After this replay and the side-by-side between 2020 and 2022, I'm going to go to NR and look at another point of view from the restart from both Staple and Jordan's point of view.
This was just taken after the white flag. Jordan Stout gets a great one on the inside in the turn and fell from Nick's hand, and that allowed Stout to get away from Salmon and Burnett. Stout staying committed to the inside, now moves up toward the middle. He left the door open for the inside, led by Nathan Stapleton, Random J. I mean, those two drivers were smart enough to know the inside gets great runs off the turn, so to go to the inside as soon as they possibly can for anyone else. And in the turns 3 and 4 here, they got that great run. Got around the 20 in Nick's hand. And in the case of Stapleton, went for the lead on Stout, off 4. As Ricky and Redder continue to be side by side throughout the tribal and front straightaway. But unfortunately, just not enough for Stapleton to win, with Stout barely getting him there.
Like, I feel like if Staple made that move a little bit earlier, like maybe 2 seconds earlier, he would have probably had a chance to get Stout. Because I keep saying the inside is the place to be. I feel like if Staple made that move like maybe 2 seconds later, he would have gotten Jordan right there.
And just for reference, on the top of your screen, here's Richard Herman's finish from 2020 by 1/100th of a second. We all thought that was very close, which really is. But here, just now, the newest closest finish in GSS history, 2/1000ths. Oh my god.
I saw a funny comment quoting the Ricky Craven Kurt Busch finish. Oh, the good thing the Pontiac had the kick in the nose. Yeah. Let me see if I can get the comparison between this finish in 2022 and the 2024. I keep doing that. What the hell is wrong with me? That was an instinct. I didn't mean to do that. Again, nothing always weird is shown. Let me see if I can get the still I made for the 2024 Firecracker between this and that one. Because obviously this is no longer the closest finish in channel history. But it's still probably the most memorable, I would say. I mean, all of the finishes are good. Both this and Firecracker in 2024 are great. I'm not trying to put one above the other, but well, I kind of am not about to say, but this definitely was this was special considering everything surrounding this race. Let me see if I got it. I've had to. Had to get the side by side. No, I did not. That's kind of stupid. But in the video, I did. In the video, I'm pretty sure I got a side by side between both finishes. I thought I did. That's odd. But still, this is this. Okay, so let me. All right, so we're done with this. I didn't do burnouts at the time. So let me now go to the NR. Let me actually go to NR now and kind of see a point of view, a better point of view of both drivers now. So give me a second so I can get NR ready to go. Exit out VLC. Oh wow, I made that window really small. I had to actually reload the mod onto my NR. I actually had to reinstall NR recently because the graphics and everything were fucking up. And it just fucked up. Oh my god. That's stupid. You know how you boot NR, you get that the reconfiguration screen? Now I have to reconfigure the fucking thing again. Oh my god. Why? Why, game? I was Hold on. It's going to take me a little bit to get NR up and running. Let me go to the... Thankfully, I have the short saved on how to... The ren.exe... the ren file, whatever it's called. That's what happened. I hate when NR does that. Okay, so... Oh, no. I don't want to do that. What am I doing? Okay. Alright, let's try that again. That was stupid. Like, why did NR have to do that? Why? And it crashed. Come on, NR, work with me today. Just because I haven't really touched you in the last several months doesn't mean I have to be naughty. I have to be freaking mean to me. Let me lower the game audio because I'm about to have wild ass cars in my headphones. Alright. Oh, don't crash. Oh, there you go. So let me put the display back on. Nice background. Mount Fuji, hope I can go to one day. Here we go. Here we go. Here's the game. Just skip to the restart. At least I don't have to deal with the annoying helicopters this year. So let's go to both Staple and Jordan because they're both right next to each other. Yep, here we go. This sounds... I forgot this. I forgot I did not add the right... Let me do that because I'm such a perfectionist. Yeah, I did not anticipate this for it to happen like this. I forgot that the right sound pack. I know it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but it's going to sound weird. Those cars without the sound pack, everyone knows is going to be weird. Alright. Yeah, super speedway sound. Alright, this should want... Alright, I'm going to show you the replay for real this time. Assuming the game doesn't crash when I try to switch back to OBS. No, don't crash. Okay, there we go. Alright, now it's going to sound like y'all are familiar with. Helicopter. There we go. So you see both of them, Jordan was 18th, Staple was 17th. They're both 17th and 18th. So you see Jordan moving up, Rito going down to the inside, getting right past by Nick's hand. Staple follows as well. Well, everyone's doing their crazy business. Yeah, Herman was one of the wrecked cars, and also I think Codewolf got some damage from hitting the wall, and I think Matt Tail got damage too from previous wrecks. So they're able to get by those slower cars with ease. Use the draft to their advantage on the inside. Off a turn 4 this time by, and you can see there's just so much, and look at all that clean air between Stout and Salmon there. Oh no, Stout tucks right behind Trey Smith. Stout then looks down on Trey Smith. Puts him up the track. Nick Stant still in tow. Staple right behind the 20. And Jordan just stays with Salmon the entire time. So it took him, like I said, it took him like barely over a lap for both Staple and Stout to get it into top, like 5, even though they both restarted. Well, Staple's not in the top 5 right now. Because Jordan's 10th right now. Well, was 10th last time by the line, but he's probably like 5th or 6th here. Staple is still scored below the top 15 when he went back to the line. Yeah, he's in 15th. But it just goes to show you how fast these positions change at these super speedways, and why it's important to take advantage of the draft. So Stout continued to follow Kyle Salomon. See Staple peeking a little bit. Here comes Stout now. Looking to the inside of Salomon. Here comes the white flag. Oh, Burnett got shoved into the wall that time by. And you can see how much, and you can just see the momentum the inside of the lane gets, especially in these corners. Both of them continue that momentum, off or two, down the backstretch, but then Stout moves to the middle alongside Nick Stamp. Nick Stamp moves, and actually both of them move up to the outside in front of Kyle Salomon. And then Stout quickly dives back down to the inside in turn number 3. But there's still enough room for Staple to get that huge run. Do turns 3 and 4 for this final time. Here comes Staple to the inside. Again, like I said, I feel like if Staple maybe tried to make that move, well, at the same time, if Staple tried making that move like a second or two prior, that would have killed any momentum. But obviously, this finish was a matter of seconds. Like here they come to the line. Boom, in the blink of an eye. Like practically neck and neck to the line. It's crazy. Practically neck to neck, which is absolutely crazy. Looking at it from another. This is the angle that happened there. Look at it from this angle here. You can barely tell. And then finally, the spectator camera. I think I've already shown these in the replay, but I just want to show it again. There we go. And now, finally, we're going to go on board with Jordan during that restart. Or actually, maybe during... I'll go on board from the restart. We got some time to kill tonight. I wish I had both his onboard and rear camera here. So this was going to the restart here. I'll go on board with both. Actually, I'll switch on board between both of them, maybe. So Jordan restarted 18th. Made a quick look of Dan Mattiello here. Staple, on the other hand, he restarted on the outside, moved down to the inside, and just stuck with Nick Sant that entire time there. Meanwhile, Jordan still has a lot of, because all that clean air in front of him, he gets a huge run here. Gets RC's draft. And it stays on the inside of the lane. Staple still a little bit further behind, but closely following Nick Sant here. Two laps to go now. Jordan continues that momentum. Again, taking advantage of how strong the inside lane is at these super speedways. So Stout maintaining his line. I think he's about to go for the pass right here. No, not yet. Staple still ways away. But like Jordan earlier, he continues to maintain his line on the inside. Gets Nick Sand's draft and catches right back up to 20. And finally, here's Stout looking to the inside of Kyle Salomon here. Here he is. Here he comes. White flag. Side by side. All clear for Stout. Meanwhile, right behind Jordan Stout, let me look at the rear camera here. He sees nothing but a Hershey's car behind him. But behind that Hershey's car, there he is. Staple right there. Staple, with help from random, me. Stays on the inside. And as Stout and Nick Stamp moved up the track, Staple will maintain his line on the inside. And continue to maintain that going into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Gets a strong run there. A really strong run from Staple. And if you look from this angle, look like he had Stout clear. You just barely see him. There's not very much Staple could do. Just, hope that he continues to just get around Stout. But unfortunately, that did not happen. And you can just see, from right here, right when the exit turn 4, Stout all but disappears. Jordan all but disappears from his side. And then Jordan, when Staple was next to him, you also couldn't even see him at all. I look at the driver cams too, but you can see, like, there's a car next to Staple. The only reason I know the spotter's there. So there we go. And now, finally, the driver cams. I'll do one last thing before I end the stream. Yeah, even the driver cam, you couldn't really see. But you see Staple right there, peeking his inside. You know Staple was trying to pass. But at this point here, like, barely, they're like neck and neck. Okay, maybe Stout was able to see Staple a little bit there. But there was obviously no way in hell that neither driver knew who was ahead of who. Yeah, Stout right there. Jordan disappears from Staple's view right here, pretty much. Like, it looked like he was ahead of him because you see his little tail light there, but nope. Like, I'll just show you just how close these races are. Insane stuff for sure. Now, the one last thing I did want to show you was, of course... Now, the last thing I did want to show you before I end the stream was kind of my reactions of as this race was getting viewed. Obviously, right now, sitting at 3,000 views. It's still the most viewed race for me, and also the most viewed race on the channel as well. So this was how many people watched. 18 people peaked watch. Through duration wasn't the best, but hey, I'm happy with how it did. This is my most popular race. I'm always happy how it turned out. So it's just kind of stats and whatnot. And most of them are new audience. Most of them are actually watching on their phones, which I'm not too surprised. Most of them are new. I guess most of them are, I think it was new audiences too. You know, 13 subscribers. Yeah, 13 subscribers gained from this. I remember I gained subscribers after this. Most of them are not subscribed. But let me find. Does it say like any unique viewers on the channel? Because I remember seeing a stat line. No, I'm trying to find. Okay, the first like 24 hours. Yeah, this is probably more accurate. Because, you know, I'm the one who typically doesn't check. Because again, this happened in my final weeks in high school. I was a few weeks away from graduating. So I made this race. I was like, okay, first race of the final golf season. Nothing too much, right? And then I remember waking up the next day. It was probably around here. It was probably around the next day, Monday. Maybe like 9. Okay, this started to really go up. Oh, there we go. I think I remember at the end of the day in school. Okay, right around here, when I first went into everything, I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Because typical before this, the races only got maybe like 50, 60 views. Like I consider like 100 or 200 to be really good. But then it hit like, what, 300 on... I think when I saw it hit 300 views, I was like, holy crap. Like right here. Yeah, when it hit 300 in the first few days, I was like, holy crap, that's really good. That's really damn good for the first day. That is really good. I don't know what's the record for. I think that might be the record for the most like most views in a single race. Okay, let me go do the first month. But I remember like, okay, after the first day, I was like, oh my god, that's a lot of views. That's really damn good for the first for the first 24 hours especially. But then just kept going up. 419, 500, 600, 800 by Tuesday. 900. Let me see. It kind of went down. It went down, but I want to find the total views. Yeah, I remember just seeing that number go up. My point is, I remember seeing that numbers go up and up. 500, 600, 800, 900, 1,000. I have never had a video hit 1,000 views before at the time. And then 1,002, 1,003, 1,005. And then when I made that thank you video, because Vancouver got delayed because I had the finals and everything. When I made that Vancouver video, it was just under 2,000 views. I was like, holy shit. And I remember, like, when I was talking with my friends when I first started golf in 2020. I knew, obviously, I was not gonna, like, oh, you know, like, a bunch, like, NR, oh, I didn't even hit the mic. I mean to hit the mic, but NR offline stuff as a whole is a very niche community. There's only a handful of, like, even the biggest NR offline racer, like, or content people out there. They get, like, maybe, they don't get, like, a million views per video. They don't get, like, a million views, 100,000 views even. They get maybe, like, you know, in the thousands, like, the low thousands, low to mid thousands, right? I knew, okay, because my channel's reach is so small, and obviously the whole Anthony controversy at the time in 2020, I knew, obviously, golf wasn't gonna be, like, instant. And I remember telling, you know, my friends, when I was when my first few races at this race, I was like, you know, it only takes that one break. It's almost like an actual racing itself. It takes that one break. You get that one break, and then boom. That was this race. That was that big break for me, because a huge influx, because, again, I gained 13 subscribers. This is still my most viewed video, the fastest viewed video on the channel. And when I saw that nearly 2,000 views, I was like, oh my god. Wow. Like, all of that was worth it. Like, all of that was really worth it for me. Especially, like, and even, like, especially after the first 2 seasons. Because, obviously, I keep mentioning Anthony drama. I don't want to really bring it up, but that definitely put a damper. That was, I feel like that kind of played a distraction for me making the races in 2020, even someone in 2021. But then when this race did so well as it did, for me, I was like, I'm past that Anthony stuff now. Like, I'm past that Anthony stuff now. I had a hit race, and it was insane. And another thing too, another part why that number meant so much for me, apart the fact, besides the fact, you know, it was my first race to even hit this much or many views, but I keep mentioning is I made this race very late into my senior year in high school. It was a few weeks away from graduating. That I didn't have a good senior year at high school at all, because it was the first year, a semester after COVID and everything. First year after COVID for me, and it was always weird and awkward and stuff. I did not enjoy my senior year in high school at all. I did not. But that May was kind of magical for a number. But that last, like, few weeks in May and everything was magical, and this race was a part of the reason why. Because I had this race early in the month, and then, like, all the senior events, graduation, and stuff like that. And also that 2022 year around that time was magical too. Even apart from May and graduation, because Rouse was doing good that year. He had that really good season, everything like that. Like, this was a magical time for me, for sure. And lastly too, Palm Summer League and any of the ensuing NR stuff would have not existed. Like, not even on this channel, but in other stuff that I've done. Like, throughout, for Joe's series, or in went away to join Staples series. I probably would have not been still in Joe's series at the time, or joined Staples, if it weren't for this race. Because I said this was the final golf season, which, yes, it was the final golf season, even 4 years later. But I was seriously considering just being done with NR in general, because doing those races definitely put a lot of strain on me, and my enjoyment of NR was starting to run kind of low. Well, not enjoyment, but, like, you know, passion. But this race really reinvigorated it. If it weren't for this race, like, if anyone from Joe's is watching, when I signed with with Roush, the main reason this race and the Roush and Sim offering me Roush, the Roush ride, that was part of the reason why that kind of reinvigorated my NR passion, and subsequently why Palm Summer League existed. So this race, I mean, the views thing, I hate kind of tuning my own horn about view numbers and whatnot, because it's just a number at the end of the day. But for this race, it meant more than just a number for me. And for me, it felt like, you know, all of that stuff I went through in the past with Anthony and all of that, all the hard work I've done for these races led up to this. It was all worth it in the end, because this did so well and everyone loved this video so much. And this is still, if I had to name, like, the greatest race, like, in terms of, like, video quality, this is probably not my favorite. Like, this is definitely, well, it is one of my, I think the editing job obviously had some mistakes, but it's just nitpicks at the end of the day. But if I had to name like like how how NASCAR has like the greatest races ever, people always mention like the 79 500, the 03 Darlington race with that close finish, etc. If I had to say like if I had to if I had to name like the best race on this channel, the greatest race to ever happen on this channel, it's certainly this race. This race is the best race ever. This race is the greatest race to ever happen on this channel. So, without further say, that kind of does it for me here in this. But to everyone watching either live or later, I want to thank y'all so much. It's crazy that this special race happened 4 years ago. There's a decent chance I wouldn't even be making this video right now. I mean, without y'all support, I wouldn't be here right now making this stream and doing all the NR stuff I did since 2022. This race was really means a lot to me, and I really appreciate everyone's support before this race, even since this race, during this race, to people who watched, and even afterwards, because this race was a special moment for the channel and for me personally. Jordan, Staple, if y'all watching, congratulations for both for y'all. I know Jordan won, but Staple deserves his recognition too. Like y'all, both of y'all, and everyone who was in that race, everyone who helped out, everyone who raced in this race 4 years ago, everyone who helped out in this race some form, they're all played their part in this special moment in our history in the channel. And I really appreciate all of y'all for doing that. And lastly, thank y'all, the viewers, for continuing to support me before, during, and since this race. Like I said, it's been a wild ride for sure. I hope to have more announcements coming soon, and some of those announcements are NR related. I will say that some of them are NR related. I don't want to get into details right now because I still need to finalize if it really makes sense or not. But I promise, stay tuned for more Stay tuned for more announcements. It is NR related. So, but for now, thank y'all for watching. Happy anniversary for this Armory Digital race. Cheers to that. Cheers to this race. Cheers to everyone who helped on this race in some form or participated in this race in some form. But for now, my voice is kind of tired, but this was cool to go back down memory lane for this iconic race, because it's certainly a special moment for everybody, not just me, but a special moment for everybody involved. So, out of the way, thank y'all for watching. Stay tuned for more announcements in the coming weeks, and I'll see y'all next time.